It takes facing resistance. It takes facing the darkness. You have to confront the obstacle in order to enjoy the price of liberty, which comes with a cost. Better Man, this is the Better Man channel, where we are men pushing through the resistance so that we can ascend the top of the mountain of manhood, the mountain of masculinity, the mountain of purpose. We all want freedom. I don't care who you are or where you currently are in life, what position you hold, whether you're at the bottom or you're at the top. We're all seeking freedom in one sense or another. And the ideal that freedom comes without a cost, the idea that freedom comes without having to sacrifice anything, is ludicrous. And that will leave you and set you up for failure if you believe that you're just going to be handed some sort of freedom just because you were born. And we live in a generation that's seeking that entitlement, that's seeking the privilege without meeting the standard. And that's absurd. It's never going to happen. It's never going to last. You may gain some temporary synthetic freedom, but it's going to fall apart when the trials come, when the obstacles come. Freedom without resistance will never teach you how strong you are. Freedom without resistance will never teach you your true characteristics. It will never teach you any lasting wisdom. And I like to use the example of a hiker, man, trying to climb a mountain. And he starts at the base, man, and he knows he's looking up, and it's going to be difficult. He's going to climb this mountain. There's going to be some trips, some stumbles, some setbacks. He's going to fall. There's going to be some bruises, some scrapes. He's going to get tired. There's going to be times that he's weak and thinking, I can't do it any longer. He's going to have to take breaks to catch his air. He's going to have to take breaks to refresh and quench his thirst with some water. It's going to be difficult. But as he gets to the top, he knows how strong he is. He knows the obstacles and the trials that he can overcome because he's did it. Without any resistance, without any obstacles, without any setbacks, without any enemies and adversity, we're never going to know how truly strong we are. Thus, we're never going to truly enjoy freedom. It's much better to realize how great something is when you have it, because you've been in a position where you haven't had it, right? Think of a job. Maybe you started out in a career minimum wage. You don't, or it's hard to respect and appreciate that salary job of $50,000 to $100,000 if you never had that $7.50 an hour job. It's the same thing. We cannot truly enjoy freedom. We can't truly enjoy the freedom of manhood, the freedom of masculinity, if we haven't confronted the darkness of a socialistic culture, a socialistic world. We cannot truly enjoy our strengths and our freedom thereof if we haven't ever been enslaved, or if we haven't ever had to climb the mountain. There's a reason. Life, God, universe has a reason for putting us in every position that we've ever been in. But it's up to us if we want to climb out of that, if we want to move towards freedom and escape the slavery of misconception, the slavery of misconstrued paradigms. The slavery of the old must be escaped through the resistance of strengthening yourself so that you actually can uphold and sustain the freedom that you enjoy from moving away from the old. We live in a culture today where a lot of men want to enjoy freedom. But in order to do that, we are going to have to face the resistance and face the pressure. You can never know how great you have it unless you've been at the bottom. And it's at the bottom that actually teaches how important freedom is. The bottom teaches how important it is to uphold and to educate and to be an example to other people so that they can find something to grasp onto, so that they can move towards freedom as well. You can never enjoy the top of the mountain and the beautiful sight unless you went through the pains, the trials, the obstacles of actually having to ascend the mountain. We live in a culture today that wants to get to the top of the mountain just because they showed up. And you ask, well, why can't we just have the top of the mountain without the struggles? Because again, you're never going to know your character, your strengths. You're never going to be able to overcome any other trials and tribulations if you've never overcame the damn trials and tribulations it took to take the first step. Because we live in a life where shit is going to slap you in the face. death happens, loss of job happens. People are just idiot and ignorant of what it takes to live in society. So there's always going to be pressures. There's always going to be resistance. There's always going to be failures. People are flawed. We're flawed. So there's always going to come a sacrifice and a cost to enjoy freedom. And if you're not willing to sacrifice some things, if you're not willing to put in the work, if you're not willing to face the resistance and face the ignorance and face the darkness in order to enjoy the light of freedom, then you're not fit to be a true man. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because I've been there. There's been many years of my life that I wasn't fit to be a man. I wasn't responsible enough to be a man. I wasn't disciplined enough to be a man. It takes facing resistance. It takes facing the darkness. You have to confront the obstacle in order to enjoy the price of liberty, which comes with a cost. Do we want to enjoy freedom? Do we want to become a better man? Do we want to live a life worth living? Then what are we willing to confront? What are we willing to face? What are we willing to sacrifice? Because the hiker climbing the mountain had to sacrifice some time, had to sacrifice time with friends, had to sacrifice other interests so that he could ascend to the top of the mountain and enjoy the beautiful sight of freedom. And he had to conquer the fear of facing the resistance, facing the pressure. What are you willing to face today? What are you willing to give up today so that we can begin to enjoy some freedom? Some real ass freedom, man. The freedom that lasts, the freedom that makes you stronger, teaches you how to be stronger, and teaches you how to be humble. Knowing that just because you're at the top of this mountain doesn't mean that you have to start at the bottom of another mountain. We're men created to conquer, to expand, and to progress. I love you guys. You'll hear from me next episode.